Hi, it's Kylie Koo, and welcome to day 11 of creating an artist trading card for each day for the month of June. And to see the work of other artists, use the hashtag ATCAD2017. So here I am, I'm putting some background colour down. I think it was Bahama Blue, and just giving it a good cover. I'll give it a very quick dry, and then I'll actually put on a second coat. Now you can see the light changing a bit. It's been going from kind of sunny to cloudy today, so I'm afraid the light does change a bit throughout the course of this video. So I've left that off to the side to dry, and now I'm taking this dragonfly stamp, and what I want is the actual dragonfly, not what's around it. So I'm just going to stamp two images onto this piece of paper. And just using some StazOn ink there. And I'll give that a very quick dry as well, just to make sure that the ink is dry before I start adding to this. So I have an idea of what I want to do, not entirely certain if it will work out, doing a little bit of kind of experimenting to a certain extent with this. So I'm just now putting some water, spraying some water over the paper, and I'm going to use my fluid acrylics again, and I think I use a bit of both, but I want the paper fairly wet because I want the paint to be really quite thin, but also just to kind of flow naturally without me painting it into place. So you see me every so often just dabbing up some of the excess water because the paper does get really quite wet. And you see every so often I just give it a spray just to kind of move it about a bit. I'm just trying to make sure that I use up any excess paint. So I decided to actually time this video, or not time the video, but to time how long it took me to make the ATC, and it was just under an hour. I think I stopped it on about 56 minutes. Now, I'd already looked out some supplies and obviously set up the camera, etc. So that's not counted in that time. But during the course of making it, there was obviously drying time, and I did dig out a couple of other materials. But, you know, all in all, from start to finish, this was virtually an hour. I just thought I'd let you know, because sometimes when you see the videos, you think, oh, these are really, really quick to make, and sometimes I do make them very quickly. They might only take me, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes, but yeah, this one a bit longer. And you'll see why shortly, because I do, some of the cutting out that I do took a little while. So I'm now taking some, I had given that a bit of a dry, but I'm now taking this Mod Podge, which has a kind of sparkle to it. It has, I'm forgetting my words today, glitter through it. Yes, glitter. All different colours of glitter, and I really like it. And now what I'm doing is I am putting down a piece of tissue paper on top of the dragonflies and going over it again with the glitter. And what I'm hoping is that some of the colour will still show from underneath, but that also the glitter in the Mod Podge will just kind of lift it as well. But I will go on to put a bit more colour on top of the tissue as well. So just using those same fluid acrylics again. So you see me there just giving it a spray and now I start to go back in with some colour. And on top of the tissue it's dispersing even more, which is exactly the sort of effect that I'm looking for. I'm not looking for solid blocks of colour. So a quick dry and a quick dab, and you can see that the design underneath is actually starting to show through now. And the glitter's showing up very well. So I lay that off to the side to dry a bit more, and I start to work on the actual card itself. So what I'm using here are the Pebeo iridescent paints. I only have the 4 colours, and I've taken the 4 colours out, and I intend to use all 4. And just taking the paints and kind of taking it back and forward, and you can see that although it's virtually the same colour, you can actually see the difference that it's actually making on the card. And what I'm going to do is kind of blend these back and forward so they merge into each other. And just a hair out the brush there. Now I go very cautiously with the red and just take a tiny dab, just until I see that this is working for me. I didn't want to put too much on. And then just picking up more of the blue and almost going through the colours again. And I often find it fun just sitting doing this type of thing, just, you know, letting it build up bit by bit, see where it goes to, adding in colours. If I feel there's a bit too much of one thing, I'll add a bit of another. And I think, as I said before in previous videos, I just get it to that point where it feels right for me. So put that off to the side, and now what I'm going to do is to cut out in detail the actual dragonflies. So I just cut them out roughly to begin with, but then I will actually cut around them. So there's the 2 of them. And what I'm going to do now is to use more of that same Mod Podge, and I'm going to glue one on top of the other. Now I could of course have just used a thicker piece of card, or I could have just used a plain piece of card, but I just felt that if I did it this way, if there was anything, you know, if I didn't cut them exactly the same, then what you would see underneath would be kind of more of the same, because they are quite small and they were quite difficult to cut. So again, that same off to the side, and I'm back onto the main card, and what I've done now is to take out my twinkling H2Os. I'm not sure at this stage how they're going to react on top of the iridescent paint. You know, I wasn't sure if it would actually grab onto them or just kind of slide off them or not. So I actually spend quite a bit of time doing this. Now initially I think about maybe doing some drippage and just putting some on there. I'd wet the paint quite significantly, but sprayed it a bit more, and I actually like just kind of moving that about the card and just seeing what it's doing. So I put more of that colour on and then start to introduce others. And you'll actually see the kind of reflection on the card there, that there is quite a bit of water sitting on it. Now I am at this stage just very much experimenting. I have no idea how this is going to turn out. It's not something that I've done before, but I have a kind of rough feeling of where I want to get the card to. But yeah, it's very much just a case of going with the flow. Now, that's the reason why you should never open things really above the piece that you're working on. That obviously had some dried in paint around it, and all those little flecks came off. I do manage to get rid of them though, but it was kind of annoying that that happened. But as I'm playing with this, it's going through different stages, and you know, sometimes I think, well, I'll leave it there, other times I think, no, I'm going to add a bit more. And yeah, each kind of step I quite like it, but then each time I put something else on, I think, yeah, that was the right thing to do. So I'm giving this a dry, but I'm actually trying to keep the heat gun quite a bit away from the card because I was trying not to move it about too much. But once I dried it, I decided I actually wanted some more colour on it. So you'll see here that I've added I think it was the raspberry, and I think the kind of blue, which is Mystique, or it could have been the greeny one, Spanish Moss. And again, just kind of laying more of that on and then spreading it about, letting it run over the card. Just playing about. So put the heat gun on again, and I actually start to move the card about, although it's kind of blowing about in my hand a bit, and I'm also trying to be careful not to burn myself. But just letting it move about to see if that then creates any other kind of pattern on it. And you see there I put some water on it just to keep it moving a bit, and actually the water's created a bit of a nice kind of effect up the top that I'm quite pleased with. So all the time it's kind of changing, and there you see those kind of nice marks, bit of a textured effect. So now looking at where I might place my dragonfly, and just do a little bit of neatening up of the two pieces. They were quite difficult to cut both exactly to the same, so where there was edges kind of overhang, I was just trying to cut them back a little bit. So once that's done, I then look at where I might place it, and I do want the wings to be kind of just sticking up from the page a little bit. I then decide to take some of this green yellow Inca Gold and just go around the edge with it. Initially I'm just going to do a kind of thick border, but then I actually think that I will spread it out a bit, and it gives it a kind of, I don't know, almost a kind of cloud-like effect. And again, it kind of picks up some of the texture that's already on the card. And I just take a piece of kitchen towel and just rub it in a little bit, adding some here and there, rubbing it back a little. So I now take some Distress ink just to go around the edges, just to set it off a little bit. The edge of the card was still a bit wet on that side, so it kind of picked up more ink than I'd intended, but that's okay. So now just taking the glossy accents to glue down the dragonfly, and I'm just putting it down that centre part. I'm not gluing the wings in place at all. And I take some stickers again from my Tim Holtz Chit Chat to add to this. and today I settled on Live Life. And I'm just going to take my pen and go round it. I should have let the glue dry a little bit because it's kind of picked up some of that and struggled to write at times, but I got there. I just had to keep wiping it off. Really shouldn't do that because that can damage the pens beyond kind of repair, but I got there. So that's it for today. In some ways it's quite a simple looking card, but there was actually quite a bit went into it, so I hope you enjoyed it, and yeah, hope you'll join me again tomorrow. So as always, thanks for watching, and bye for now.